So back at the start of this project, I ran a contest over on my Patreon channel asking my patrons to name the shop. So let's remove the cover and reveal the winning shop name. And the name of our shop is Little Harbour Homewares, and this was chosen by Adele Cannon. So thank you so much, Adele, for this suggestion. I really like it, and I love that it's got the word little in the name as well. Now next I'm going to be showing you my plans for the ground floor of the shop. So I want to start with the placement of the shop counter. Now, I'd had a few thoughts of where to put it, and I thought perhaps it could go along this wall here and maybe have like a little built-in section here, so that when people come through the door, you know, you can't just get behind the counter, it would be built in, and then a sort of an L shape like that. But obviously you need to account for space behind the counter so that your shop assistants can get round there, and bearing that in mind, you'd also need a gap down there, and I thought perhaps then that would make the counter quite tiny. So then I thought about maybe having it right in the centre of that back wall, but again, because of the space you need behind, probably, I mean, we can take a little bit of artistic license because probably health and safety would dictate you'd need a couple of feet behind the counter, so that would be about 50mm, but we could perhaps do 1.5 inches, so 38mm, or even go to 33, just to give us as much space as possible actually in the shop. But still the counter would come out probably to about here, so then I'm losing all that lovely space I wanted to have those sort of central display units. So then I thought about over there somewhere, but then I was sitting with my cup of tea and I was going to put the door back on to tell you about my revelation. And just sort of sitting, get out of the reflection there, looking through this window, I thought it would actually be really nice to have the counter in front of this window. So you've got, the door can still be open, and again that might be a health and safety issue, but you know, we can do what we want in our small world, can't we? So if the door's open, that would then go up against the side of the counter in there, but that would be okay because, you know, the door would probably be closed most of the time unless we're having it open for, you know, taking photographs and things. And we'd have a little opening at that end for the shop assistants to get around. Now the back part of the counter would be hidden with the window display, which we'd have in there. But when we take the door off, and this is the thing that I was quite excited about, put that back over there. So the counter will be stood along here, have that little opening in there. And the thing that I like is that we'll be able to see inside the counter. And we can have a couple of shelves under there, and then we can have some little bags and tissue paper and, you know, maybe the shop assistants' tea mugs, little desk tidy and their pens and pads, their sellotape and all things like that. So I think that will make a really interesting little feature when the door is open. So that is my starting point for the design. So I'll have the counter across there, and then we can work everything else in around the empty pieces of the shop, or the empty areas of the shop. So let me transfer the counter actually onto the plan. So there is the shop counter, and I've left just over 30mm at this side, so the assistants will get in around there or here behind the door. And I've brought it just into the middle of that strip between the edge of the window and the edge of the door. So it might be when it comes to it, we can make it just a tiny bit wider, just to give us a bit more room. But as it is, this is just under 140mm wide. So that's just under 5.5 inches. So I think that's a good size for a counter. And I've done it 50mm deep, which is 2 inches. So again, gives us lots of space on the top there for the till and whatever else we have on there, tissue paper, etc. So then I've been through my images that I saved at the beginning of this project, and I've designed the rest of the layout. So over here in this corner I've got some open shelving, and that will look like this. And on there we can have all of our sort of kitchenwares, glassware, some nice jugs and everything, get all those lovely blue and green colours in there. And again, that's 40mm deep, so just over 1.5 inches. And I've done it so that it goes around the corner, because then you've got a nice edge for your next piece. If you just sort of did it along there and then had your shelf standing next to it, then you're wasting some space. So by creating a sort of corner unit, you're giving yourself a little bit more space. So I've just left 10mm between each unit. And then I've got this large shelf unit here, and I want to make something like this. And again, I thought we could have kitchenwares on there, but just really a mixture of nice things. Maybe have this sort of more of an ornamental shelf. Haven't really thought about what we'll have on the units at the moment. Just really want to get the basic layout in. And then here I've put down unit. And when I say unit, I normally mean something low, so something that's going to be about 3 inches high. And then we can have a shelf or pictures on the wall above. And this was my inspiration, and I think that would look really nice there. And then I've put here cupboard, and that was based on this image, and I really like that with the doors open. Now, because we're limited on space, I'm not sure if we'd be able to put doors on there and have them opened. We could certainly make it look like a cabinet that had doors at one point, and perhaps they'd been removed. We still want to keep with that sort of old rustic theme. Everything's a little bit worn, so that could go there. And then this again is a fireplace, similar to what we're going to be having upstairs, and I've got the upstairs plan here. So remember, I put that little fireplace there just as you came in that door, and that's only going to be about 3.5 inches wide and about 30mm deep, so about 1.25 inches deep. And I want it down here because I want to create a display around it like this image. And I like to have those tables stood in front, maybe one on top of the other, and those shutters on top of the fireplace. So the fireplace will be more or less hidden, but I just thought it was nice to keep it uniform with the room upstairs. If there was a chimney breast there, then there would be a fireplace in the downstairs area as well. And then this section here that's empty, we could continue that display over into that corner, but we could also have sort of like a lamp, some sort of nautical theme, you know, a standing lamp, a floor lamp over in that corner, and things stood around the base just to fill out that corner area. And then I've basically divided the space that I've got left there in the centre to create 2 display units. And if you remember, I showed you these images at the beginning. Now, I really liked the idea of having those sort of ladder type shelves on top, but I think now they may be a little bit tall and they might hide what we've got behind. So we might just have some flat units on there displayed with like gifts and things like that, little novelties and things. And funnily enough, I was looking through some photographs the other day because I wanted to get some photographs printed in real size for our home, and I came across this picture. Now, I took this, must have been, I don't know, maybe even 9 or 10 years ago, and it was at a National Trust property, and this was in one of their gift shops. And I took the photograph because I even thought back then I would like to make that in 12th scale. So I think that would be really nice to make and have either there or there. And we could still make those ladder shelves, but maybe just have them low down rather than have them then standing on another unit. And again, we're tight on space, so I've sort of got 50mm between the 2 units, and I've left 40 around the perimeter. So we would have sort of 2 feet between there and 1.5 feet around the outside of the shop, and again along the front of the counter. But again, we're using a bit of artistic license just because we want to get in as much as we can. And certainly along the front of this display unit, where we've got quite a bit of space before the window, we could have some things standing in front, so maybe even a little low bench, and create some more height or some different heights over there. And then upstairs, if you remember, I put a couple of tables in front of the windows, which we can create displays on to act as a window display. But I thought, because we'll have a window display actually in the window on this side, we could have some baskets stood in front, so like a row of baskets with lots of different things in them. I had an idea about making some sort of cork-soled flip-flops and things like that, so I thought we could have those in a basket, or maybe some caps, or you know, anything sort of seaside related, and we could chuck them all in little baskets. Maybe have some beach towels and all things like that. There's so much we can do, and I just doing this as I've been sort of doing this layout, I've been thinking about the accessories that we can make and how much fun we're going to have with this project. And even if you're not doing this actual project, I think we're going to be making so much stuff that you could use in other areas, even in a house. You know, we'll have lots of little bits in there that you could use in your doll's house if you're not actually doing a shop. Or even if you're not doing a coastal themed shop, there will be lots of things that you can make and adapt to suit your own project. Let me know what you think of this layout, and if you've got any ideas in the meantime, because this is just my sort of initial idea. Just because I've sort of drawn it all out doesn't mean that it can't change. But I quite like this. I'm quite happy with how that looks. Trying to stay out of the shadow there. But, you know, we can create lots of different height. We've got lots of areas for display, especially with these large open shelves. This big unit here. And I'm already sort of seeing lots of different coloured candles which we can make using polymer clay. Do those lovely little candle displays. We can make those lovely sort of Louvre window shutters to stand on top of the fireplace. We could even maybe have a floor standing mirror over here. You know, there's just so much we can do, and I'm having loads and loads of ideas, and I want to hear your ideas as well. Anything in particular you'd like to see in the shop? Any other ideas like the little flip-flops? Really want to make some more of my shopping bags, and we'll use all those lovely sort of nautical fabrics that we've got to make some of those. We can have them lined up somewhere, maybe on one of these shelves along here, or even on the top. We could have just a row of lovely bags along the top. And then I was thinking out in the sort of landing area, I haven't made any plans, but I was thinking we could make a really old sort of nautical trunk to stand along the back of the landing. Obviously we've got what, 10, 20, 30, we've got 50 millimetres there, so 2 inches. So even if we did it sort of an inch deep, do like an old trunk, or maybe sort of 2 or 3 all stacked one on top of the other. We can do that sort of fishing net hanger with all the shells in it. We can have pictures all the way up the stairs. It's just going to be so much fun, and like I say, I'd love to hear your ideas. Let me know what you think of the layout as well. Now in the next episode I'll be showing you how I got the shop to this stage. So we'll be fitting the tiles and the chimney pots and getting the shop to the stage where the outside is now almost completed. I really hope you're enjoying the series so far. I'm really enjoying working on this shop, and I've got so many ideas for it. I do love to hear your ideas as well, and love to read your comments, so let me know what you think of it. So that's it for today. Take care. Bye.